Man, our good buddy, old pal, Stephen A. Smith, man. Man, Stephen A. Smith just can't help himself, man. And he did it again. But this time, you won't believe what Stephen A. Smith said about a particular LeBron James situation that Isaiah Thomas pointed out. But we're going to unpack all that here next, here on the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. Well, guys, man, Stephen A. Smith has been in the news here lately, basically because of what him and LeBron James was doing, situation between him and LeBron James. And we know what Stephen A. Smith likes to do. Now, Stephen A. Smith is real slick when it comes to certain situations. Stephen A. Smith, what he does is he give you all your props, all your accolades. I always say he'll build you up like a Black and Decker workbench, and then he'll, in that same segment, he'll break you down. And he is at it again. Now, with the midst of the back and forth between him and LeBron James, there's a lot of layers to this story. There's a lot of things that Stephen A. Smith has said, in the situation between him and LeBron James, and a lot of his contemporaries have came out and have called Stephen A. Smith out. They said Stephen A. Smith is lying on a lot of things that he's saying pertaining to LeBron James, and he's caught up in his own web of lies. Now you got his colleagues and his contemporaries and these media pundits really putting the focus on Stephen A. Smith through this whole ordeal. Now, you know what Dan Patrick said. Dan Patrick's called him out. Michael Wilbon called him out. Matt Barnes called him out. Channing Frye called him out. I mean, that's just the likes of a few. Marcellus Wiley called him out. Nick Wright called him out. It's a lot of people that's called Stephen A. Smith out, but Stephen A. Smith is trying to stand on business. But in this situation, man, it got worse for Stephen A. Smith because of the way the situation happened. He gets checked by LeBron James on national TV. He didn't want to talk about it, went on his first take show the next morning and talking about he wasn't going to talk about it. And through him not talking about it, it seemed like he was real humbled about the situation. And when I say he was humbled, because of his demeanor when he was talking about it, because he said he understood where LeBron James was coming from as a father. So what happened was, after that, he went on to Gil's Arena, and he had his chest out, talking about a few things. And he said it was a weak move by LeBron to pull up on him and things like that. People called Stephen A. out on that because you said that you out in the streets. If you see me, you can pull up. We can have a conversation. LeBron James saw the opportunity to pull it up. So now we at this point where the smoke has kind of cleared a little bit. But now another incident revolving around LeBron James came to light. And the two-time NBA champ and Hall of Famer, Isaiah Thomas, took exception to LeBron James warming up without a shirt on before the Houston Rockets game that was being played live on NBA TV. Now, we all know in the past LeBron has warmed up with no shirt on, but why is this an issue? I don't think this should be an issue because when LeBron does it, he does it in his pregame ritual, which is almost 3 or 4 hours before tip-off. And they clipped where he was working out with no shirt on. And Isaiah Thomas said it was unprofessional and he needs to be fined. He said Adam Silver needs to get involved and he needs to fine LeBron James for not being professional. So what happened? Stephen A. Smith went on the Stephen A. Smith show today, and he talked about what Isaiah Thomas said. But Stephen A. Smith did the exact thing that I always accuse Stephen A. of doing. He builded LeBron James up and then in the same sentence tore him down. So let's take a look at the clip of LeBron James warming up with no shirt on, doing his pregame warm-up before they played the Houston Rockets. But before we get off into that, right now, I'm at 16,743 subscribers, on my way to 17,000. If you're now just coming across my channel and you're just now seeing any of these videos, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, turn your post notifications on so you know every time Dropping drops another hot banger. And with your love and support, we can get to 17,000. So let's take a look at the video that is causing an uproar once again by LeBron James. And this is what had happened. So you see LeBron James warming up. LeBron James is warming up with no shirt on. Isaiah Thomas took exception to that and said he should be fine. Now let's listen to what Stephen A. Smith responded by on his Stephen A. Smith show, and listen to the way Stephen A. Smith builds LeBron up and then he tears him down in the same sentence. Let's take a listen.
NBA for a quick topic that raised a few eyebrows this weekend. That's because Hall of Famer Isaiah Thomas called out the one and only LeBron James himself for being, quote, unprofessional, end quote, for wearing no shirt during early shoot-around on Friday. This is what Isaiah Thomas had to say about LeBron while NBA TV rolled the warm-up video. Y'all got to see this. Take a look at this. I just totally 100% object to this. If I was a GM or coach, I would never let one of my players walk out on the floor looking like this. The professionalism in our NBA league has diminished so much. I like LeBron, but to walk out on the floor before a game with no shirt on and shoot, I mean, come on, man. Where we at? What we doing? Adam Silver, if you want to find somebody, find that. Put a fine on that, end quote.
Now listen to what Stephen A. Smith says, y'all.
Isaiah Thomas is 100% right. It's just a bad example to use. Because you see, contrary to what some of you trolls out there want to instigate,
calling us trolls,
fabricate and start up, when it's talking about Stephen A. Smith and LeBron,
he's watching.
I told y'all I'm going to always be fair.
Now listen to what he's saying.
I'm going to do my job regardless of how we feel about each other. I'm going to do my job. LeBron James,
listen to this,
is not the greatest example to use because 99% of the time, the brother epitomizes professionalism. LeBron James is usually dressed up. LeBron James carries the mantle and conducts himself with the proper level of decorum and professionalism.
I can't make this up, though.
Media interviews, post games, availability, stuff like that. LeBron James shows up. Big events representing the NBA brand. It's LeBron James you lean on. So to mention the word unprofessionalism and him with a broad brush would be incredibly unfair. But if you're isolating an incident, now which Isaiah Thomas did,
you see what he did?
Then it's more than fair. And the reason why it's more than fair is because you're thinking about what's going on in the moment. You're a man out there with no uniform, no t-shirt on in a professional environment. You're not in a closed door practice. You're out at the arena where fans have already been allowed to enter the arena.
Now, you guys heard what Stephen A. Smith said. And I told you Stephen A. Smith is good for bigging you up and then tearing you down in the same sentence. Y'all heard what Stephen A. said. He gave LeBron all his props about professionalism. And then all of a sudden he says, I agree with Isaiah Thomas because you're out there in a professional environment with no shirt on as fans are already coming into arena. Well, Stephen A. Smith, that's not true. The clips that y'all are seeing is LeBron 3 and 4 hours before the game even starts. The doors are not even open. There's nobody in the arena. Just go pull the clips of every video that you've seen LeBron shirtless warming up, the fans are not in the arena yet. It's just the workers and things. There's no fans out there watching LeBron do his pregame warm up. When LeBron does his regular warm up, he comes out there in a shirt while there's fans in there watching him warm up. But this is all irrelevant because LeBron does this before 3 to 4 hours before the doors open to the public, before any fans come in. LeBron has been doing this type of stuff his whole career. And now Isaiah Thomas likes LeBron James. He has nothing against LeBron James, but I guess the reason why Isaiah Thomas took exception to it because it was on the show the night that Isaiah Thomas was on NBA TV and the Lakers was taking on the Rockets in a meaningful game, and LeBron was warming up with no shirt on. But Isaiah Thomas, you got to realize that clip that y'all showed was LeBron warming up 4 hours before game time. If you know LeBron James' ritual when he comes in to work out, he comes into the weight room. He's always at the arena 5 and 6 hours before the game to get his pregame workout in. So when he's out there working out with no shirt, there's no fans in the arena. So I don't understand what the big problem is. But the focus is on how Stephen A. Smith tried to flip it and build LeBron up and break him back down, all in the same sentence. I see everybody in the comments section, #salute. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, turn your post notifications on so you know every time Simply Ball drops another hot banger. Oh yeah, just in case I forgot, tell a friend to tell a friend. It might not be for you, but it might be for them. And this is going to wrap up another episode of the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. I'm your host and the man behind the mic, K-Sap. We're going to catch you on the next one. Deuces.
Thanks for listening to the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share on all major platforms.
That's all, folks.